All right, today we are going to continue our probability unit, and we're going to talk more specifically about what we call sample spaces. Okay, so sample spaces we've mentioned a little bit before, and a sample space is just where you're listing all of your possibilities. But now we have what's called compound events. So we've been talking about just things were happening one thing at a time. So compound, think about what we learned maybe in ELA, our compound sentences. That's two or more things happening. So that's exactly what we're going to look at. So a compound event is when you have two or more events and you find the probability of a certain amount of events occurring. So for example, I could have this spinner and be rolling this number cube at the same time, and we have two things that are happening. Okay, so if we spin the spinner and roll this number cube, we wanted to create a sample space or a list of all the possible outcomes. So I could spin and this spinner could land on A. As I'm spinning and landing on A, I can roll this number cube and roll a 1. Or I can spin and land on A, and I can land on 2. So basically we're listing all the combinations. I could spin and land on A, and then roll a 3. Land on A, roll a 4, and so on and so forth. So these are all the number combinations possible with that number cube with the letter A. Or I can spin and land on B. I can spin and land on C. And same thing, you can see. We have a combination with that B and all of the numbers on that number cube. And I have the spinning and landing on C with all the combinations on that number cube. So out of this, I have a total of 18 opportunities for something to happen. Okay, so if we were to ask about probability, what's the probability of landing on B and spinning a 3? Well, that only happens once out of 18 total outcomes. Remember, your favorable outcomes is what we're looking for, and your denominator is going to be, if that's your numerator, your denominator is going to be your total outcome. So in this situation, I have a total of 18 combinations. So just in case, I know some people go, what if you land and the spinner lands right on the middle? We'll spin that again because we want to make sure that it counts, okay? So let's look at another problem. The cards below are mixed up and placed face down. You draw a card, you look at it, and then replace it. And that's going to be really important because in their next couple lessons, we're going to talk about what happens when you don't replace that. So if I take this letter A, it's face down, but I pick it up and I see A, I look at it, and then I'm going to put it back. So it's still in that group of 5. Or if I take a C, take it, look at it, and put it back face down again, it's still in that group of 5. So my total is going to be staying the same. Well, after you draw one card and you mix the cards up, you draw again. Make a sample space or a list of all those possible outcomes. So we're drawing 2 cards because we're drawing a card, we're mixing it up, and then we're drawing again. So you could draw the A and put it back, and then you could draw it again. Or you could draw that A and put it back and get a B. You can draw the A, put it back, and then the second card be a C. Okay? So as you can look, you can kind of predict, we're going to go A, B, A, C, A, D, A, E. We're looking at all the combinations. So those are all the combinations right there. Okay? So what this represents is your first draw, and the second one is your second draw. Okay, so even though there's only one letter A, I could technically pick it up, put it back, and draw it again. Okay, so then we have our combinations. Let's use a couple different colors just to help you see it. We could draw a B first, then go BA, BB, BC, BD, BE. Okay, then we can do another one and say CA. Hopefully you're getting the hang of this. CB, CC, CD, CE. Okay, I only have these 3 colors, so we'll switch back. Then I can say DA, DB, DC, DD, DE. Sorry, you can't see that. And then we can do our last one, an E first, then A, EA, EB, EC, and so on. Okay? So what that represents is the first letter is the first card you draw, and your second one, you have that. So for example, even though we see AB here and we see BA, yes, that looks like the same combination, but the first letter represents your first draw, and the second letter represents your second draw. Okay? So you are drawing in twice, so we're listing all the combinations of what the cards could be. So if we count that up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ones for A, 5 different ones for B, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 different combinations in this one. Okay, so we're just practicing looking at those sample spaces to see these compound events is 2 or more events happening. So let's keep going. I have 2 more examples together, and then we have some independent practice for you. It says Evan is going to buy a new pair of shoes. He's trying to decide if he should get a pair of Vans or Converse. So those are the 2 different types he wants to get. He also needs to choose a color, black, white, or maroon. Make a sample space of all of Evan's possible outcomes. Okay, well, he could get the pair of Vans, and he could get them black. He could get the pair of Vans and get them white. He can get the pair of Vans and get them maroon. So those are all of his combinations for Vans. But he can also choose the Converse, and we can say the Converse can be black, Converse white, and the Converse maroon. So hopefully you're seeing the pattern that's looking at. Those 3 different colors with those 2 different types of shoes. So that's a total of 6 combinations. Okay? Alright, let's do one more together, and then we'll get you that independent practice. Okay, so over here I'm just going to say 6 combinations. This one didn't directly ask me a question, but just in case I needed that. This one was 25 combinations. And that first one, like we said, was 18 combinations. Okay, so something to think about. So if we did need to write probability from that, we are ready to go. All right, let's look at this last multiple choice question. It says, in the cafeteria, Brandon can choose from 3 different cereals. He can choose rice, corn, or wheat. So these are the 3 different cereals. He can also choose between skim milk and whole milk. So he's got 3 different cereals and 2 options of milk. Which diagram best displays all different outcomes that Brandon can choose if he chooses one type of cereal and one type of milk? So if you think about it, we need to see which one of these are going to be working with it. You could make a sample space, and you could say, I'm just going to abbreviate rice and corn, and then S and W. So we could do rice with skim milk. We could do rice with whole milk. Oh, and then we have wheat. I'll do that as WH. Okay, then we could do corn with skim milk or corn with whole milk. Then we can do wheat with skim milk and wheat with whole milk. So if it helps you to do a list for yourself before looking at these, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options. And when you look at that, you want to have the diagram that chooses that best for you. And so if you look, there's 3 cereals and 2 milks. Well, rice with corn. Well, rice and corn are both cereals, so that can't be it. Rice with skim, rice with whole, that part's okay, but rice can't go with corn. These are 2 cereals, and we're mixing a cereal and a milk, so we can get rid of B. Look at C. Rice skim, rice whole. Yep, that's what we got. Corn skim, corn whole. Yep, corn cereal, whole milk. Wheat skim, wheat whole. So looks good so far. Let's make sure we can prove D wrong. Rice skim, rice whole, that checks out. Corn skim, corn whole milk. Skim, wheat, and whole, well, these are both milks, so that's what throws that one out. Okay? So just take your time on these. Make sure you're looking at that list and proving yourself right to make sure you've got it. Because this one might have almost tricked some of you if you only proved the first 2, but these 2 are milks. We're not matching a corn or the cereal with the cereal and the milk with the milk. We want one of each. Okay? As always, please make sure you reach out to your teachers if you need help, and good